Transformers War for Cybertron is widely considered to be the best Transformers game that has ever been made. It's a third-person shooter, but many feel that it's one of the best executed third-person shooters on the market, and that it stands apart thanks to its unique transforming mechanics. Also, even though its online multiplayer is nearly barren these days, its multiplayer was pretty good, and as icing on the cake, it was one of the best and most faithful adaptations of Transformers to be released. I've never played it. Instead, I played the game's butchered Wii port, Transformers Cybertron Adventures. If you're wondering why the game has a different title, it's because somebody in Activision's marketing department thought that a game on the Wii would sell better if the word war wasn't in its title. I said it before and I'll say it again. Kiss my ass, Activision. The game is a rail shooter. The other consoles got an awesome third-person shooter, and the Wii got an arcade rail shooter. Before I stuck the game into my machine, I read through the instruction manual, and I was perplexed by the distinct lack of movement controls, and I thought to myself, there's no way they'd make a game a rail shooter, right? This is going to be another third-person shooter, right? Nope. But I already paid money for the game. Might as well give it a shot. The game's plot is pretty straightforward. Megatron has built a giant super weapon called Trypticon who can fire massive shoop-de-whoop laser blasts. After Bumblebee and Ironhide infiltrate the Decepticons' capital city, they learn that Trypticon is also spreading Dark Energon through the planet's core. Dark Energon is poisonous to Autobots, but it doesn't seem to affect Decepticons, thus Cybertron will soon be rendered uninhabitable for the Autobots. Trypticon is kind of indestructible, so Optimus decides to evacuate all the Autobots from the planet, but during the evacuation the Decepticons launch a full siege on the Autobots' capital city, and all hell breaks loose. Even though the game's plot is fairly simple, it'll take a few playthroughs of both campaigns before you really understand what's going on. The game's story is not very well told. Both campaigns begin with Trypticon attacking the capital city of Iacon. We never actually see Trypticon attack the city, we're just kind of told that he did. After Sideswipe rescues Ratchet in the first level, he tells you that he has vital intelligence that Optimus needs to hear. We never find out what that intel is, and we never see Ratchet again through the rest of the game. The rest of the game after that is more coherent, but it's disorienting as hell when the game starts with two massive gaps where nothing is explained. Also, some key bits of exposition are given in the middle of missions, so you have to pay attention or you miss important information. Even though I bash on this game's story, the game's story is pretty good once you understand it, and there are a lot of powerhouse scenes in it, like when Optimus rallies the Autobots for a final assault against Trypticon, or when Starscream betrays Megatron like he does in every Transformers story in the history of everything ever. There's a really good story somewhere in this game if the game's developers had only given enough of a crap to flesh out the story and tell it better. It really helps that all of the voice actors do a top-notch job, especially Peter Cullen reprising his role as Optimus.
They've got Trypticon's Dark Energon feedback online. He must be powered down immediately. Jetfire, take everyone that can fly and attack the orbital power relays. Hurry! Yes, sir!
It's really good that the voice actors deliver great performances because characters exchange dialogue constantly during levels. Most shooter games that have radio chatter just have support characters spout the same 3 or 4 lines over and over and over again. But in this game, the radio chatter is all carefully scripted, and there's a ton of it that plays constantly throughout each level.
Still no sign of Optimus, huh, Megatron? Looks as though your taunts didn't get the job done.
You shut your mouth, Starscream, or I'll silence you permanently!
Although as good as the voice acting is, I still can never tell what in the hell Soundwave is saying.
For Megatron, Trypticon's weapon has caused a chain reaction in the mass of Dark Energon at the planet's core that is now expanded at 1.5372 times integral wind.
That is good news, Soundwave.
Yeah, sure. Great news, Soundwave. Keep it up. I really love the design of this game. You may have noticed that the game's opening cinematic is kind of, well, gray, and a lot of people have criticized that War for Cybertron's entire color palette was just varying shades of gray. Cybertron Adventures, on the other hand, is fairly bright and colorful. Just look at the environment here. There's a ton of detail in the backgrounds, and there's a ton of color. The game is really nice to look at. Ow! Eyes on the road, shithead! No matter which character you're using, you're given 4 weapons to use throughout the game. The blaster is your basic weapon and it deals decent damage. The homing launcher instantly kills flying enemies, but it requires time to lock onto targets. The Gatling gun fires a ton of shots really quickly, but its accuracy is for crap. And the sniper rifle deals huge damage, but it needs to be reloaded after pretty much every shot. The sniper rifle is my favorite weapon because if you've got any kind of decent aim, you can clear out a room really quickly. but the sniper rifle doesn't do great for really crowded rooms because if you're sniping one enemy, all of the other enemies have a chance to shoot you and you die. In these situations, it's sometimes best to use the machine gun, but if the machine gun doesn't deal good enough damage to get rid of the enemies in time, you have to use the blaster. The game encourages and often forces you to cycle through weapons to deal with different enemy placements. This is a refreshing change from most shooter games I've played where your primary weapons are a machine gun, an occasional shotgun, and another machine gun. If you kill several enemies in a row, you get a combo multiplier that ranges from ×2 to ×5. Taking cover renders you immune to any damage and recovers your health, but taking cover drains your combo meter in seconds. The combo meter doesn't just increase your score. The higher your combo is, the stronger your weapons become. A high combo will give your weapons more ammo and considerably more power. So unlike most shooters where getting a high combo just increases your pointless score, in this game you want a high combo so that you can supercharge your weapons. It's a good system and it does a lot to spice up the gunfights. It's also a good incentive to use cover as little as possible. You may be thinking that there's zero skill required to play a game that has no time limits and where taking cover renders you invulnerable. That's where you're wrong. Unless you're playing on easy difficulty, you die fast and die often if you don't use cover well, and even on easy you can die pretty quickly if you don't pay enough attention. Plus there are a few sections in every level that are timed, so health or no health you have to stay out of cover and shoot the enemies as quickly as you can manage. The game may be simple, but simple does not mean completely lacking in all challenge and stimulation. At first I wasn't sure whether I was going to like this game or not, but then a thought came to me. What is the objective difference between this game and any other modern cover-based shooter? The only real difference that I see in this game is you don't have to bother with moving between pieces of cover. The game moves from cover to cover for you, and the game's action goes much faster as a result. This game is fast and frantic the entire time that you play, but not such that the game ever feels exhausting or obnoxious. This is a Transformers game though, so obviously your characters should transform. Because, you know, that's how it's supposed to work. In between each shooting encounter, your character transforms into their vehicle mode to drive or fly to the next encounter. For characters that change into cars, this means a brief driving section, and for characters that change into jets, this means a quick Star Fox-style flying section. These vehicle sections are given a Gatling gun to destroy obstacles and a homing launcher to attack seekers. I will say that the driving controls feel kind of stiff sometimes, and it's annoying when you go off a ramp and you plummet into a bottomless pit and die. But apart from that minor inconvenience, these sections are pretty fun. These little vehicle sections come frequently throughout the game, meaning that you constantly go from shooting to driving or flying. It's simple, but it does a lot to shake up the game, and it keeps the game from becoming repetitive. It's not like the game has much chance to get repetitive, though. This game is really short. Each campaign is 8 missions long, and each mission takes about 15 minutes to beat. If you don't feel like crunching the numbers, both campaigns can be beaten in a total of 4 hours, which I admit is not a good length for a modern-day game. I suppose that I should mention that the game has a co-op mode, but it doesn't have very good co-op. Player 2 pretty much controls a disembodied gun that floats around off-screen while Player 1 plays like normal. The main problem is that Player 1 has control over when both players take cover, and it's a little annoying when Player 2 is trying to shoot enemies and Player 1 keeps ducking into cover and interrupting them. It really becomes a headache when one person likes to use the sniper rifle and the screen keeps zooming in on one enemy while the other person is trying to shoot like normal. During the vehicle levels, Player 1 drives and shoots the vehicle's machine gun while Player 2 aims and fires missiles. The problem is that the vehicle sections are not designed such that one needs to shoot airborne enemies and clear out obstacles at the same time, which makes this design decision entirely pointless. Bottom line, Player 2 doesn't really add anything to the game experience and actually hinders the main player during vehicle sections. The game's co-op mode is entirely pointless, and good luck convincing a friend to play this game with you when they basically add nothing. I got my friend to play co-op with me long enough to finish exactly 1/2 of one level before he got sick of it and asked me to play something else. Fortunately, though, my opinion of a game does not sway entirely on its multiplayer, and aside from that brown spot, Cybertron Adventures is a pretty solid game. Cybertron Adventures isn't a great game, and it's not something that you're going to play hardcore because of its short length, but the game is really fun to pop in for a quick playthrough every now and then. Heck, I have a blast every time that I play it. The game's atmosphere is really what makes the game an enjoyable experience. The constant, frantic radio chatter does a lot to immerse you in the game, and it immerses you into the characters, and the frantic, fast-paced action is really fun. I say give this game a shot, especially if you're a fan of Transformers. Although, as much as I like the game, I'm going to be pissed as hell off if Activision pulls this crap with Fall of Cybertron. Please, guys, please don't screw us again.